Welcome to Inside the Paint, an inside look into all of the action of the British Basketball League. I'm Jeanette Kwakye, and I'm joined by two of GB's finest ballers, Ovie Soko and Dwayne Lautier-Ogunleye. It's the weekend before Christmas, and we're about to take a look at whether the teams have been naughty or nice. But first, make sure you like, share and subscribe so you don't miss any of the action. And tonight, we were treated to the fourth matchup between the Sheffield Sharks and the Bristol Flyers. Let's take a look at what happened. So the two teams who love to play each other and take it to the wire. A sluggish start, and Sheffield were hell-bent on making sure they were not going to slip up defensively. Bristol having to make some tough shots early on. Trajan Jacobs making impact off the bench in a low-scoring half. And the playmakers, Jalen Pipkins and Devell Ramsey, kept quiet. And in the second half, more was needed as they went into the break 27-31 to the Flyers. The third quarter saw the Sharks come out the gate, really swinging the momentum in their favour. Devell Ramsey was awake, but it wasn't enough to tie this up. And by the end of the third, they were back to a 4-point game. No team making enough of an impact to put on the scoring, though more of the same in the fourth. Then a few timeouts and a few fouls working in favour of Bristol to take this to overtime again, where the Sharks put it to bed by 10 points. I mean, Ovie, one for the purists, I'm going to say, but an exciting finish. What do you think?
It was an exciting finish. Had some slow moments in the game, but, you know, the tougher team, the grittier team, the team that stayed true to their foundational principles was able to come away with a win.
Yeah, and D'Lo, sometimes got to grind out those wins. You know, they're not fun, but they are necessary.
Most definitely, and they really give you an identity of the team. They definitely needed to wake up. The first half was slow, but I could see in the third quarter, both teams really jumped out into action, and then we really got to see them play freely, and then in overtime, take over, and Sheffield got the win.
Yeah, we were looking for a little bit more from Devell Ramsey in that first half, and he did come out of himself in the second. That's what he needed, a double-double from him.
He did. I mean, you know, he was an absolute pain. He was a pest. He was a dog tonight. You know, he rebounded. He gave assists here. Absolute monster lob. And he did everything his team needed him to do. And that's what really, really good players, they do when their team is having these sort of slow nights. They add that extra sauce, the extra ingredient that brings everything together. And
they did really well. And for Sheffield Sharks, I guess now we heard Coach T. Lyons after the game speak about there's not going to be any time for rest. They've got to push through, D'Lo.
There's no rest. You have to keep going. They're definitely pushing the pace, and Ramsey is... Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I mean, Ramsey, he's like... I mean, he's the key chef, you know what I'm saying? He stirs the pot, but, you know, they have no time to rest. They have no time to sort of kick back. They had a long break before this game, and I think we saw a little bit of rust tonight. Hopefully, some of these practices can work that rust out.
Well, let's see how they go. That's their fourth matchup already of the regular season. I can't believe we are flying through. Also tipping off on Friday was the third meeting between the Surrey Scorchers and the Plymouth City Patriots. Calling that one was Tahir Hijat and Jordan Taylor.
Thank you very much, Jeanette. Well, it was incredible action at the Surrey Sports Park. The game went to and fro. It was the beginning of the first quarter that excited myself and Jordan Taylor in that one. TJ Atwood with 10 points. Then, in the second quarter, there was a collapse, JT.
Yeah, big collapse. You know, Plymouth stopped running their stuff. They got out of whack. They started taking quick shots, and Surrey took advantage. Surrey was more aggressive. They took it to Plymouth on the defensive end, and on the offensive end, they were crisp in their movement, and they got a 20-point lead. That was too much to overcome.
Well, halftime, it's 20 points. Me and JT thinking this could be a really long night for Plymouth City Patriots fan at home. And next thing you know, Plymouth come out the blocks and put on a similar performance to Surrey in the second quarter. They do it in the third. And what was the big difference there?
Well, they just flipped the first half recipe on its head. You know, it was Plymouth that brought the defensive intensity, the aggressiveness. They were running their stuff. They were attacking the rim. They were turning Surrey over. You know, they have Mason Faulkner and Elvisi Dusha, Jules Dangakoto were picking guys up at half court, forcing steals, creating havoc, getting out in transition, and they turned those two first-half turnovers that Surrey had into 8 in the third quarter and got back in the game.
Jacob Wiley, he had 20 points personal. He didn't have a great scoring night, went to the line a lot. He was battling away and just couldn't quite get his performance full.
Yeah, tough struggle from the line, but hats off to him. He started struggling from the field at the beginning of the game. He stuck with it. He stayed aggressive, and he provided some of that scoring that you mentioned was missing in the absence of Taylor Johnson.
Well, in the fourth and final quarter, it came down to a one-point game, but there was a man who claimed MVP on the night, Saquon Jameson. He had a double-double on the evening. He was battling throughout, boards offensively, scoring as well. He was the difference.
Yeah, he set the tone for them offensively and defensively with aggressiveness. 14 rebounds, 50-40 rebounding advantage. And again, we talked about Andrew Lawrence at the top of the show, controlling the game and getting his teammates involved. But every good point guard needs a big man who's going to roll to the basket and make themselves available. And every time it seemed like Plymouth would make a run, it was Andrew Lawrence finding Saquon Jameson, him setting a good screen and finding a soft spot.
Well, it sounds like you're talking from experience there, JT, on that one. Look, this is going to affect the league standings without a doubt. Plymouth City Patriots really need to pick up some victories. They've got a tough time ahead of them to ensure if they can actually do that or achieve it. But the Surrey Scorchers, they'll be happy with that victory. They'll have eyes on the Manchester Giants taking on the Leicester Riders tomorrow. That's going to be a big game.
Awesome. Thank you to Tahir and to Jordan. And basketball doesn't stop this holiday season. We have 3 more games coming your way, starting with the Manchester Giants hosting the Leicester Riders on Saturday. These teams have played each other twice and have won 1 game each. Ovie, last time we covered them, we have to talk about the new signing in Teddy Allen, or Teddy Buckets, they call him, right? And he is something else. He's really special. 35 points. Was it 35 points? I can't remember. It's 30-something. It was high. It was high on his debut. He was amazing.
Incredible, you know, as advertised. We spoke about him at the top of the show last week, and I feel like that could put a lot of pressure on the player. So to come off the bench, your first game, and absolutely set, I feel like, the league on fire. He's put everyone on notice. Yeah. So he's definitely a player that everyone's going to have to watch out for. And, you know, you said you spoke to Coach Rob, and Coach Rob is excited about him.
Of course. Understandably. And you can see exactly why, because you're bringing in somebody, you know, pretty much halfway through the season, D'Lo. Is that a hard transition for not just him, but for the team as well?
It's difficult for everyone. I remember me playing in my 3rd season in Den Bosch. I actually joined the team midway through the season. And when you're playing together, it's all about feel and trust. When you're not playing regularly, you don't have that. But Teddy kind of just asserted himself right away as an alpha, and he's really given a lot of excitement for the rest of the season. It started off slow for Leicester, and now they have something really to look forward to.
And I guess they're super excited alongside their fans as well. So we'll be looking forward to that game. The second game on Saturday, we'll see the Caledonia Gladiators make the long journey down to the pavilion to take on the Plymouth City Patriots. We're joined by our outstanding commentators, Azania Stewart and Todd Harris. Azania, Plymouth have had a week off, and in that time, they've lost one of their star players in Taylor Johnson. What sort of team can we expect from Paul James?
Well, great point, Jeanette. He was averaging 17 points, Taylor Johnson. That's a big loss for Plymouth. They also lose to Surrey, 71-65. They are on the struggle bus. They are trying to find their 3rd win, and they just can't figure it out. But you've got the Caledonia Gladiators, who are just, you know, moved to 2nd spot, Todd, are feeling good, playing well. And who are the players that have been balling?
Well, you talk about Ian DuBose coming in at 15-point average game, Patrick Whelan 15 again. These guys are so consistent. They bring it. They set the tone for the Gladiators, and they're part of the reason why the Gladiators are climbing up that ladder. But, and I will say this is a big but, no one thought Plymouth City would beat the London Lions, and they did. So if I'm Caledonia, I go in there and look at this like a trap game. They cannot go in and just say, oh, we're going to walk in there, take it, because Paul James has been around this league for a long time, one of the best coaches, probably be in the Hall of Fame. He's going to have his team ready. They're going to keep scrapping. You do not want to go and just let this one fall away.
Fantastic point. Caledonia 12-6, Jeanette. I'm going to go with the Caledonia Gladiators.
I love that Azania never sits on the fence. Of course she doesn't. She gets her predictions in nice and early. To close out round 15, the London Lions will host the Sheffield Sharks on Sunday, Christmas Eve. Now, Ovie, the Lions have had some stern challenges recently, in particular from Manchester and Cheshire as well. Are the Sharks, are they going to dish up something pretty special, especially off what you've seen tonight?
Well, you know, Coach Lyon said they're going to be right back to practice, so I'm sure that they're going to be busy preparing for London. However, if they're not able to figure something out in this few couple of days they have on offense, they're going to struggle big time against London. I mean, London has size, they have depth on the bench, they have players at every position. You have to play well on defense, but you also have to be able to score the ball to beat them. So it'll be interesting to see what they can figure out. I have London at this point because I don't know how much you can figure out offensively in the time being. But, you know, Sheffield is a tough defensive team, so they'll put up a challenge.
You see you there courtside? You going to be there?
I'm going to be there. You going to be there?
I'll be there. I'm going to be courtside. Why not, eh? No Christmas to me. But, D'Lo, when we think about the Christmas schedule for the London Lions, it is absolutely bonkers. They have got a lot going on. They've got to be in Paris, I think, on Boxing Day. How are they balancing all of this, both, you know, domestically and in Europe?
It's brutal, but the show never stops. I think London want it this way. They're going to play on Sunday. Probably you'll see a little bit more depth in the rotation, trying to spread out the minutes so you can have some guys fresh because they're going to be traveling Christmas evening for a game against Paris on Boxing Day, and they're the #1 seed in the Euro Cup in their group.
Gosh, how do you enjoy your Christmas when it's like that? You've got to be able to balance that. We'll see how they go. But yeah, it's a busy old week in the British Basketball League. Let's take a look at what we have got coming up. As you've already heard, we've got 2 games on Saturday, game on Sunday. I'll come to those in a second, but look at those results from Friday. 71-65, Surrey Scorchers against the Plymouth City Patriots. Sheffield Sharks against the Bristol City Flyers, a 10-point game in overtime. And then on Saturday, the Manchester Giants take on the Leicester Riders at 5 o'clock, and the Plymouth City Patriots take on the Caledonia Gladiators at 8 o'clock. Both of those available on our YouTube channel. And then on Sunday at 1 o'clock, Christmas Eve, London Lions take on the Sheffield Sharks. So a massive thank you to you, Ovie, and to you, D'Lo. A very Merry Christmas to you both. Merry Christmas to you as well. That's all from us this week. Drop a comment below letting us know who you're cheering for, and make sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the unbeatable action from the British Basketball League. So it's goodbye for now.